Hey, what is up, Thrift Shop Hustler here. Today on Know Your Stuff, we are going to dive super deep into the world of Vinylmation. So, those that don't know, I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. Been reselling for almost 30 years. Been doing flea markets and garage sales and stuff like that for many, many years. Been selling on eBay, even before eBay. So that's who I am. Let's get right into get to know your stuff. So on this series, we usually take a subject and we go super deep into the stuff that you can be finding at garage sales and thrift stores. And I tell you a little bit about the history of certain items. And the main thing is that you can get a general understanding on a specific brand or a specific thing that you can look out for while you're sourcing. Today we're going to talk about Vinylmation. What is Vinylmation? Vinylmation is a Disney action figure. Well, not an action figure. It's like a Disney kind of collectible figure. They come in two sizes, a 3-inch size. Actually come in three different sizes. A 3-inch is going to be the most common one. There's also a larger 9-inch one, and there's also little junior ones. And they came out in November of 2008 was when the first one came out, and it was a blank one. It was a create your own, and you can find some of these blank ones, and the whole idea was for artists to paint on them and trade them or keep them or give them away as gifts. And that's where I started actually doing my custom art, was from Vinylmation. So I know a lot about this subject, so I wanted to kind of jump right in here and kind of show you guys, because you can find this kind of stuff still at garage sales and thrift stores and things like that. And especially around California and Florida, where there is Disneyland and Walt Disney World, because that's where these are mostly sold. You can find these at Disney Store, and they still sell these today. Not as much. The popularity of these have gone way down over the last couple years, but they still produce these every once in a while. So let's get into it. As you can see, the whole thing about Vinylmation is the Mickey shape. And there was two shapes over the years. And we can get into that real quick. The first variation was this shape where it had Mickey's nose and his little buttons and everything. And then eventually they made it to this other shape, which I can find here, is where everything, there was like no features. It was, you still had the Mickey ears, but it was all flat. So that's how you can tell an earlier version of a Vinylmation from a later version. As you can see, earlier version has the buttons and the nose that sticks out. Later versions are all flat with no real detail on them as far as detail. They got into Marvel and Star Wars ones later. I think around 2010 is when they did the Star Wars stuff, and that's when a lot of this stuff started to really take off. 2010, I want to say, was probably the best year for Vinylmation. It was at the highlight of the career as far as popularity. I would say like the equivalent of where Funko is right now was the 2010 Vinylmation. But I wanted to get you guys a little bit familiar with the figures first. So basically, like I said before, they take a Mickey mold, and an artist goes in and they recreate another character on top of the Mickey mold, and that's what Vinylmation is. Vinylmation is that. It is kind of like a designer collectible toy figure, and you were able to trade them at the parks for a couple years before they got rid of that. That became a huge disaster after a while, because people were trading, because you'd trade with a cast member, an employee at Disneyland, and and it would be blind, so you wouldn't know what you were getting, and people were trading in like trashed ones, and then so like you would exchange your brand new one for like a trashed one, and people were getting very upset. And you were able to find actually really cool pieces from Disney would trade you really rare ones, but that ended in like literally months, and a lot of people complained, and then Disney at the end just said it wasn't even worth it anymore, which is unfortunate, because I think the number one reason why this brand went down was they forgot about the fans and they stopped doing things for the fans. So we can get into that in a little bit, but let's talk about actually Vinylmation prices and stuff. They actually came out in 2008. The first series was Park 1, and we can actually look at Park 1 stuff, and I can show you that the most expensive Vinylmation figure that you're going to find is going to be the Balloon Chaser. And over the years, that has kept its value. It's gone down a lot. These things used to go for like, you know, $700, $800, but look at this. This is the Park 1 Chaser. If you find this in your house and it looks familiar, this is worth a lot of money. As you can see, this one went for about $400. It actually comes with a card. The early versions came with a card, so it was like an artist card. And basically what Vinylmation really is Vinylmation pretty much ripped off Kid Robot and the Dunnies and kind of did their own thing. So they literally copied across the board. You know, they were blind box, they had cards, there was a chaser. They literally ripped off Kid Robot to make their own thing. And it was Disney, it was super popular at the time. But this is the most expensive, one of the most expensive regular figures. It was a chaser, which means there was a case came of 24, and a set usually had 12 in it. And so, was it 12? Yeah, so there was 12 to a set. So there was 11 regular figures and a chaser for the 12th figure. The cases were 24, so there was one chaser and a third figure, like 3 of one figure in one box every time. So you got 2 sets, one chaser, and an extra third figure that was in a case. And even the cases of Park 1 still go for about $2,000 to $2,500. I'm sure it's less now, but this is the most expensive Vinylmation that you're probably going to see. Like I said, this one went for $4 something. It's still going for good money. So if you have this one around the house, and you don't have, because the thing is, a lot of things is early on, a lot of parents just bought these for kids, and they had no idea that some of these are going to be worth a lot. And I think that even happens still till to this day as far as collectibles. People still can have these super expensive things, and you can probably find these still at garage sales and stuff like that. So that is one of the highest ones. Park 1, I think the Park series went from 1. I think they're up to 12 or something like that now. And as you can see, there's one that's sealed in a bag. And this was from Park Series 1 also. So even still to this day, this is the Haunted Mansion one. This one went for $135. This was part of the Park Series 1. And that whole series still goes for a good amount of money. Not every figure is going to be a $100 figure. The average figure from Park Series 1 goes from about $15 to $30. And these ones that are more desirable, the Balloon Chaser is a chaser. Obviously, they made less of them, so that one is pretty iconic as far as Vinylmation. And they literally made hundreds of designs over the years. And like I said, they still make them till this day. It's not as popular as it was. I don't think it's ever going to get back to where it was before, because there's no support. There's no fan support at all. So I think there was a misjudgment on their behalf. And I think you can see Funko does a lot of that good stuff where they get the fans involved and they keep the momentum going. And then I don't know what happened in Vinylmation history, but you know, they lost touch of that, and these things just become, you know, obscure. And now they still make them. They actually make some pretty cool stuff today, but not as frequent as they did before. And I think that's another thing that killed it too, was they just produced so much stuff that no one really liked. And I'm actually surprised that, you know, there's not more of these high-end things when I go to Vinylmation, because that shows you again right there that this stuff is really taking a dive, because I remember a lot of this stuff would actually go for a pretty good amount of money. Also, variations is a thing. We can touch on that real quick. Variations is something that's different, and they're usually harder to find. An example here is we have this Vision Marvel. As you can see, there's 2 versions. The one on the left with the clear feet is the harder one to find. And they tried a lot of this kind of stuff after, you know, they should have been doing this stuff before when it was really popular, but they decided to do these kind of variations like later in the career of Vinylmation. And I think if they would have did this earlier, you know, it would have rejuvenated the brand at the right time. And so timing was off when they started to do these. But this is a variation. As you can see, it was in a blind box. And So you can either get these two figures in this particular box, and I think like the one with the clear feet was 1 in 10, and the one with the regular feet were is 9 in 10. So you'd get 9 of these to one of those, and that's what made the other one worth more. So look out for variations. Also, do your research on this stuff if you find this stuff. To be honest, if you're gonna find Vinylmation, it's usually gonna be in a huge collection. You might find one-offs here and there, but for the most part, every time I've seen these around, they've been in like bags and stuff. There's been, more than one. So another thing that irked collectors was the fact that, as you can see, these two visions, all they really changed was the feet. And a lot of collectors that were super hardcore into this were thought that that was just like super lazy on Disney's behalf. To kind of just, let's just change the feet. And that really pissed a lot of people off as far as collectors, as they felt like, they weren't really getting, you'd think like something that was 1 in 10, they would have really got something special, but all they did was they changed like one little thing that, and I don't blame Disney, because when it comes down to it, it was a cost factor. And when they started coming out with this later stuff, the popularity wasn't there, so they had to cut corners at all cost as far as like molding, because there's lots of technique that goes into making these in the China factories, so that if we just change the feet, it was super cost effective. So that's a little bit about that. And let's show you like the 9-inch one. So there's the large ones. Here's some more variations on these Dapper Dans. They came in 4 different colors. These were the hardest colors to find: purple, yellow, and blue. And they also did 9-inch figures, which are taller ones. They didn't really do as well as the little figures, and I can see that there's not even like, I don't even see, maybe I'm searching in the wrong. No, I'm searching in all categories. Oh, I see here. So we'll look at Vinylmation. As you can see, look at this. This Hulk one went for $600. So these are still going for a good amount of money. This Hulk variation, it says it's very hard to find. It's probably a variation. I want to show you guys a 9-inch, which is like the taller ones. They also did Park Stars. As you can see, this variation went for $350. I want to show you guys a 9-inch figure. So this was a 9-inch figure from Park 1. These were like some of the very first ones. They came in these black boxes, and you can see Park 1 was on this box right here. And for the most part, these boxes, you're going to find these things, they're going to be all banged up because they're really super thin. And just, they crushed very easily. So if you didn't store these properly, these would get all banged up. But as you can see, I think, how much did this one sell for? I think this one did go for $2.99. This was out of Australia, so that's a little sketchy as far as getting that shipped. This was a super popular one too. This was a Park 1 Haunted Mansion. Anything Haunted Mansion is a good seller for resale. As you can see, this was a Park 1. I don't know what this little warning sticker is. That wasn't normal. See how banged up this box is? What's cool is some of the 9-inch figures also came with these little figures, the little 3-inch figures to match. So even some of these little 3-inch figures on the other ones are worth a pretty good amount of money. But look how banged up this box is, and this thing still went for a little bit under $300. So that's pretty good. You can actually, I would say, if you're in Florida or Southern California, and I would say probably mostly Florida, you can still find a lot of this stuff around. As you can see, they have the Marvel franchise now, and they have the Disney franchise. I mean, the Star Wars franchise. And a lot of those sold for a pretty good amount of money. So it's good to see. This was actually a cool variation from Park 6. We can get into this real quick. There is 3 different types made of these figures. And I want to say the Magic Kingdom Epcot one is the one that's worth the most. And I think it actually goes across this way. But I'm not 100% sure. But like I said, this was a very cool variation. I want to say the Magic Kingdom Epcot one was the one that was like super, super hard to find. This one was a hard one to find. And then the average one was this Disney Animal Kingdom. I mean, there's still good money in this stuff. This was actually I remember when this set was going for like around $500. Also during trade nights, they had really cool figures, and there was limited editions. There's not really much to be said about Vinylmation as far as like the collectible ones and the ones that are just regular. Just do your research. As you can see, we've kind of touched on the more higher priced ones. If you can get these for $1 each, that's a good deal, especially if they're in good condition, because a lot of kids played with these things, and you're gonna find a lot of them that are scuffed up and everything. And a little tip, a little trick, if you have dirty Vinylmations, is you can take take some magic eraser and lightly scrub it. Don't scrub too hard because you'll ruin the tampos and the paint job. But you can use a little bit of magic eraser to clean up those figures to make them look even better. And even some of them can look brand new once you clean them up with a magic eraser. So I thought like we were gonna go super deep into Vinylmation, but to be honest, there was, they made the little 3-inch figures, they made the 9-inch figures, they made a bunch of different offsets. I remember this set was going for like $500 at one point too. This Eve set. And I remember having this set and kicking myself for selling it. I think I got $100 for it, and I think I traded for it. And at one point, these were going for $500, and that's when I was just like, oh, I should have kept that set. Now they've kind of gone down a little bit. You can see how much, like I'm telling you, this was a $500 set all day long in 2010, 2011. And you can see now they still go for about $200, $150. So you can see how much the prices have dropped as far as like these higher end sets. But they're still out there, and I'm saying if you can get them for a good price, you should pick them up. But also do your research, especially if you can get like some of these different sets and things. So like I said, there's not much to be said, do your research on these. There's, the different sizes. If you find the big ones, I'm going to tell you right now, for the most part, unless you find like this this Haunted Mansion one or some of the ones that are super earlier, they're really not worth that much. Some of these blank ones, as we can actually get into this real quick. Can't believe this black Create Your Own went for $160. Oh no, there's more of them. There's 2 of them. That's why. There's a black and a white one. These are what I was talking about, the Create Your Owns. This is where I started my art stuff. Is I would take these, and then you just paint them, and then people would sell them afterwards, and that became a huge thing. And as a matter of fact, Disney would hire different artists during different events to paint these, and they would go for a couple $1,000. So that was really cool too. So look out for the blank ones. Some of these earlier blank ones go for a good amount of money. I know this early version of the white one, this thing still goes for about $100 in the box if you can find them. And these were the Create Your Owns. They came in 2 different sizes. They came in this larger 9-inch size and the 3-inch size. And I can actually show you that real quick. Create Your Own. So like they came in different colors, and so this is the newer version. Remember I was talking about earlier in this video that there was 2 versions. There was the one with the buttons and the details, and then the second version was these flat face, no detail ones. And you were kind of, as an artist, forced to literally create your own detail on these. It actually came out with a Cars one too. That was a blank one. I think I have a couple of these still put away. These were kind of a little odd to paint too because they were like a car. They were a car, and it was just kind of hard to get in there and paint. But people made actually really amazing customs out of this. If you guys want to actually look, we'll go something different that I wasn't really gonna go into, but we can show you the Vinylmation customs of some of the things that people have made with the blank ones. As you can see, this is a Miss Mindy one. She did an amazing job. She took a blank one and really did some crazy work here. See here. This is one of the car ones that I was talking about. Someone like made it like that. Here's this is one of the ones that was done for an event. As you can see, it's all airbrushed and it looks pretty cool. This is what it looks like right here. Here's me on a Christmas morning. Here's me on Christmas morning. Hi, this is, look at this. You gotta look at this. This is funny. This is on freaking Google. Christmas morning of 2010. I got a blank, a blank Vinylmation. This is funny that this is on Google, but that's me smiling at the very height of the popularity of Vinylmation. There's another car one. And actually, some of the customs still go for a good amount of money. I haven't made customs of these in a long time. This is actually probably one of the most epic customs that I ever saw made. Was by Gerald Mendez. And there's all these. Here's some. This was one of my collections. This is something that I had in my collection. Also, Jared Flores. Good idea, Hyde. He does some amazing customs too. He does a really good detail. And this is one that I actually made this one too, right here. And it was for a London candy show. And I did the flag. And actually, this was actually my booth too from 2010. Actually, that's pretty funny. That's a lot of my stuff still in here. Because I did literally hundreds of these customs. Well, anyways, so that's wanted to show you guys that there were so many different things that people made with these, create your owns, and just wanted to show you that, you know, that's actually part of the history of Vinylmation, and these are some of the ones that, you know, different artists made right there. So, and also we were a part of a set. Actually, there was a group of artists that did this set, and I actually did this LeFou one right here. Actually, this is actually bringing back some pretty fun memories of Vinylmation's heyday. Unfortunately, it's not where it used to be, and you know, there's a lot to be said about that, but we won't get into that in this video. So actually, this is gonna be a real quick video for a get to know your stuff, Vinylmation. So hopefully this kind of shed a little bit of light on this subject. You might have seen these at Disneyland. You might have been like, what the hell are these? We kind of glossed over the history and everything about this, and I could seriously make a video that's like 2 hours long about the complete history of Vinylmation. It'd definitely be called the rise and fall of Vinylmation or something catchy like that, because literally this thing was amazing in its heyday. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you learned a little something. If you like this video, click the subscribe button. We're almost at 400 subscribers. I really appreciate everyone's support. Click the like button and leave a comment below if you have Vinylmations at your house or if you've collected these over the years. I know that people that are Disney fans at least have one of these in their house, if not more. Especially, you know, the collectors have tons of these things. So I really appreciate everyone's support with the channel. And thanks for watching. Hope you learned a little something, and we'll see you soon.